We'll just do a sound check. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
For breakfast, I had a cup of coffee with 2 shots and heavy cream, and actually an Americano with 2 shots of coffee and heavy cream. And I had a smoothie with apple and yogurt and some shit in it.
Well, we will talk more about the shit part. That's going to be very relevant.
At this altitude, I can run flat out for a half mile before my hands start shaking.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Now would have seemed an appropriate time.
What if I did the opposite? I'm a cybernetic organism, living tissue over a metal endoskeleton.
Tim Ferriss Show.
This episode is brought to you by AG1, the daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. I do get asked a lot what I would take if I could only take one supplement. And the true answer is invariably AG1. It simply covers a ton of bases. I usually drink it in the mornings and frequently take their travel packs with me on the road. So what is AG1? AG1 is a science-driven formulation of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food sourced nutrients. In a single scoop, AG1 gives you support for the brain, gut, and immune system. So take ownership of your health and try AG1 today. You will get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first subscription purchase. So learn more, check it out. Go to drinkag1.com/Tim. That's drinkag1, the number 1, drinkag1.com/Tim. Last time, drinkag1.com/Tim. Check it out. Hello, my little kittens. This is Tim Ferriss, and welcome to another episode of The Tim Ferriss Show, where I attempt in each interview to deconstruct world-class performers, to tease out the things you can use, not just act with integrity, but what does that actually mean on a daily basis? What are your morning routines? What are your habits? What are your favorite books? What are your influences? What are your favorite documentaries? So on and so forth. I really want specific tactics that you guys can apply, toolkits that you can use in your daily life and lives. That's a plural for you guys. And this episode is no exception. I'm very excited to have Sophia Amoruso, that's at Sophia_Amoruso, on the show. She is founder and executive chairman of Nasty Gal, which is a global online destination for both new and vintage clothing, shoes, and accessories, among many other things. Founded in 2006, Nasty Gal was named fastest growing retailer in 2012 by Inc. magazine, thanks, I suppose, in part to its 11,200% 3-year growth rate. It's a very big number. Sophia has been called, quote, fashion's new phenom, end quote, by Forbes magazine, and she has become one of the most prominent and iconic figures in retail. She recently founded #GirlBoss Foundation, which awards financial grants to women in the worlds of design, fashion, and music. Sophia's first book, #GirlBoss, you can check it out, is a New York Times bestseller published in 15 countries. And we touch upon many, many things. We talk about tactics, testing, the genesis story of Nasty Gal, early successes, early mistakes, the last time she accidentally crapped in her pants. We really go all over the place. And there is a lot of personality in this episode. There's a lot of fun, and there's also a lot that you can use. So without further ado, please enjoy this conversation with Sophia Amoruso. Sophia, welcome to the show.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And we've had such an adventure putting this together and getting all the tech to work. But I'm stoked to be chatting with you. I've wanted to have a jam session with you for so long, and I know we've met very briefly before. But let's start with some basics for people who may not be familiar with you. And I know your role has changed in the last year or so, but when people ask you, what do you do? How do you answer that now, and how did you answer that 2 years ago?
If I don't know them, I just say, like, I have an online fashion business, and I try to leave it at that. And if they ask, it depends on who it is. Mm-hmm. But I started a company called Nasty Gal in 2006 as an eBay store selling vintage clothing. And, you know, whatever, like a lot of entrepreneurs, just did everything myself, did what needed to happen, just ran a little eBay store, but it wasn't little for very long. Left eBay about a year and a half later and launched nastygal.com, which is now kind of a full-on fashion e-commerce destination we carry brands, we design our own product, and we still sell vintage. And I guess I'm an author, so there's that too. I wrote a book last year that spent a bunch of time on the bestseller list, and it was called Girl Boss. It's called #Girl Boss, but saying hashtag out loud is kind of weird.
And so I mean, you're a multi hyphenate. You've done a lot to put some numbers or stats to it. And I'm reading off of just the reading that I've done. So I'd love feel free to correct me, but it sounds like company has customers in more than 60 countries. It was the fastest growing retailer in 2012, according to Inc. magazine. And I guess at one point, at least, it sounds like, and again, I'm reading from online, so who knows how verified this is, but, I guess in 2011, it was started in 2006, and by 2011, revenue is like 24 million or so, marking, I guess, an 11,000 plus 3-year growth rate. So very impressive stuff.
Thanks.
Very impressive. And I cannot resist asking about some of these bullets before we get into that whole story. I apologize in advance. So for those who are wondering how this podcast gets put together, I usually like to not rehearse, but send some prompts for guests who are on the show. So one of the sentences that I send out is, can you please send some bullets with a handful of topics and or questions that will lead to actionable tips, advice, comma, funny stories, comma, or resource and how-to recommendations. So funny stories. I just went straight for funny stories. Oh no, it was awesome. So I'm just going to read the first 5 and then we're going to dig into one. So bullet number 1, I once pooped my pants in high school. We're going to come back to that. Number 2, I have 3 poodles that are all related. Number 3, and I'm paraphrasing here, I lived on a street called Orange Blossom twice in different parts of California. I love karaoke, and the last bullet I'll read is, I'm a big supporter of reality TV because it's cheaper and healthier than weed or alcohol. So people love the embarrassing stories. I woke up this morning for the first time. I just adopted a rescue puppy about 6 weeks ago. She's 5 months old.
Oh, cool.
I woke up and she's never pooped in the house, and woke up and she's being crate trained, and looking at the crate, it looked like someone had taken a handful of mud and thrown it into a Cuisinart. She somehow managed to diarrhea in every direction, including on the top of the cage. I don't know how this is possible.
Oh my God, inside the crate?
Yeah. Unless you're like a Cirque du Soleil athlete who's had whatever, too much to drink. But in any case, so this is on the mind. Obviously, it's all cleaned up. She's fine. She's chilling. Molly's good. But tell me about this high school incident. I have to ask, since it was sent over.
Oh my God. Well, I was at this guy's house. I was like 16 years old. I was at this guy's house who was like this amazing bassist. He played this thing called a war guitar, which is bass. It's like a bass with, a ton of strings on it. And you basically just play the fretboard. And he was just like this weird, like proggy musician who I thought was super cool. And he was like, I don't know, maybe he was like 19. I thought that was amazing. And, I went to his house. He like lived with his dad, and got there like, I don't know, after like 15 minutes, my stomach was just like, I had eaten some pepperoni pizza, I think, like the kind that has cheese that you can almost drink, like not like, not like boutique LA pizza right. Or whatever. It's like, it was like gnarly pepperoni pizza, just like mouthfuls of cheese. Anyway, I was like, oh no, I don't want to use this guy's bathroom. I'm not sure what's going on here, but I should probably leave. So after like 15 minutes at his house, I left. And I started driving down the street. It wasn't like, oh geez, well, if I find a toilet, then I'll be happy about it. It was like, I really need a toilet. And I stopped at this liquor store and walked inside, and I was like, do you guys have a restroom I can use? And they were like, no, sorry, it's for employees only. At that age, it would have been confusing if I had like lied and said I was pregnant. I think I've done that before. Only once. An awful person. No, and then so I got back in my car and drove. I was in a like 1991 Honda Civic with like a racing steering wheel. It was pretty funny. And I drove down the street and stopped at a gas station and got out, and it was like step, framp, just like, oh my God. I didn't even make it inside. And it was just like, when something like that happens to you, you wonder if you're going to spend the rest of your life doing that, like uncontrollably, because it's just it's so shocking. Like it just shouldn't happen. And I just I had to get back in my car and finish. And then I had to drive home and sitting in my.
Oops, sorry. That's my pooch. I apologize for that.
Anyway.
But so
disgusting story.
And so I have a number of friends who swap these stories. Sorry, my dog's freaking out, guys. Okay, this is like podcast verite. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, so coming back to the topic at hand. So I have a number of friends who are athletes and have been competitive athletes, and guys take all sorts of disgusting pre-workout products and so on. And these guys trade stories of what they call fouling out. So what happened to you, they would call fouling out. And
oh my God. Well, I'm not alone. My people are out there.
No, you're not alone. And so I'll trade just a really quick one, because I think that most guys who've tried to gain muscle and taken a lot of horrible supplements will somehow identify with this. So I was driving on my way to SFO, right? Driving to the airport. And I had a bunch of creatine monohydrate, a bunch of coffee, and then I think what's called MCT oil, which is the ultimate recipe for disaster pants, I now realize in retrospect. But got halfway to the airport, I'm racing to a flight, and had the exact experience that you did. Viciously shat myself. And so
it's like throwing up. It comes in waves.
Oh, it was the worst. It's like throwing up. It's so true. So then I had to basically clean myself up with my own boxers and run into the airport, get through security, and then go deal with myself. But so for those people out there who've had this experience, you're not alone. And what you said also, the steps, kind of step, bang. It made me think of San Francisco doula midwifery and whatnot, because they're like, oh, when you're trying to have a natural birth, if you're doing it at home, you can have a pregnant woman walk on a curb, just one foot on, 1 foot off, and that's one way to kind of pop the baby out. So
wow, all kinds of stuff.
Well, yeah.
The 4-hour baby.
The 4-hour baby sounds like a horrible tragedy. But how did the business start? And I think a lot of people know you, they know your photograph, they've seen the book, they're very familiar with the company as it exists now. But what was the moment in which you decided to start selling clothing?
Yeah. I'd never worked in a clothing store, and it wasn't, eBay was definitely not my way into the fashion industry. That was not my intention. Mm-hmm. I just was kind of flailing. I wanted to be a photographer, but figuring out how to schmooze in the art world or talk about my photography and make stuff up about why it was important, or all of that stuff just seemed not right for me, and not like people were inviting me to do shows. Although I did have a show at Adobe Books before they went extinct. Did you ever go there?
No, this is here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, it was a super cool bookstore in San Francisco, but I don't know. I was working at the Academy of Art University in downtown San Francisco.
How old were you at that point?
I was 22.
Okay, got it.
And I got that job because I needed to have a hernia fixed. I don't know how I got a hernia, but I had no health insurance. So I had to get a job so I could get health insurance so I could get my hernia fixed. And I had to work at this job for 3 months to get health insurance. Mm-hmm. So I did. But I was working in the lobby, just checking student IDs, and sometimes worked late at night, and was, had time to kill on the internet, and was getting friend requests on MySpace. I'm not sure if anyone remembers.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding. And so I was getting friend requests on MySpace from eBay sellers that were promoting their businesses on MySpace. And I wore almost entirely vintage at the time, and I knew where to find it. And I saw the prices that these vintage pieces were fetching on eBay, and said, hey, I can find them for way cheaper. I know how to take a picture. Pretty sure I know how to use the internet. And eBay was a great place to start. There's a kind of like a framework for you to sell online, and it's really easy today. But then building a website, like a web shop, wasn't as easy. So I started with eBay, and you also have a built-in customer base there. You put something and you can test like what works, or if people like your taste, or what you have to bring to the table. So I bought eBay for Dummies and had a friend model for free, and just found some vintage, sold some of my stuff. And it was, you can get a read on what people like really, really quickly on eBay because they watch stuff.
Right.
There's something called watching, which is basically like you're like monitoring it or adding to your favorites. You want to see what happens with the auction over the course of the week or 10 days.
And how did you know where to find vintage clothing?
It was like all I wore. So I've just spent my youth in thrift stores, like discovering, just unearthing stuff that no one else wanted that I thought was really special. And I made a career out of it.
Did you have a favorite thrift store at the time in the Bay Area?
Let me think. At the time, I don't know. No, none of them are a real like gold mine anymore.
Right.
I liked estate sales a lot because you can encounter people who have no idea what they have. That's becoming rarer and rarer, and thrift stores are like onto vintage being valuable.
How would you find the estate sales? Just look in the newspaper or like a Craigslist? I'm trying.
Craigslist and the newspaper. Yeah.
Very cool.
I like line up with all these people that were, I don't know, way older than me at like 6 a.m. to be the first people in. And I just run straight for the closet and hope whoever died had great style.
I saw this, the end. I didn't see the entire thing. My girlfriend was watching at the end of this documentary about I want to say a fashion icon named Iris, who's now, or when it was recorded or filmed, in her 90s, 93. And she has awesome style, but I think it'll be hard to get to her estate still.
Oh, yeah.
So you get eBay for Dummies. You know where to find the vintage clothing.
You know how to take a picture.
Know how to take a picture. What's and you're getting an indication of what works or what people are at least interested in, right? Through the watching. Do you remember your first sale or your first day of sales?
Yeah, it was like, well, it was a week of auctions. So I watched what happened over the course of the week. And at the very end, some stuff goes crazy because people swoop in at the last minute trying to steal it from whoever was in the lead. And, sometimes nothing happens, but I learned really quickly what was working and what wasn't, and tweaked that, with every auction, with everything I bought. And I watched my competitors and I watched what they were doing. And I tried to do a better job. And I don't know. What
are some examples of maybe some of the things that you noticed in those initial tests and that you could be better at?
Yeah. Well, the thumbnails are the thing that attract you evaluate everything as you browse eBay by a thumbnail and the title of the item. And those are two things that you can optimize just into kind of infinity. I mean, there's a limited amount of space, but I knew that using images that were really bright where you could see the silhouette of the item. eBay thumbnails have gotten a lot bigger, but at the time they were teeny tiny. So making it really obvious what the item was, and even showing, I would split the image in half and have, half of the thumbnail be a full length shot of the item. And then I'd have like a detail shot, like on maybe the right hand side, and the description. So, I mean, selling vintage is such an incredible way to learn perceived value, because unless you're selling something that's like a designer, like a Chanel jacket or whatever, you're buying it for the style, and you're buying things that have no inherent value that really are someone else's throwaway, and exalting them to a level that makes them worth more. And worth more, I mean, eBay was the customer who determined the price. I started everything at $9.99 and let them choose. I let them fight over it, but they only fought over it because I turned it into something really special. And I breathed new life into these forgotten about things.
And as a copywriter, how did you accomplish that? And maybe that's a non-specific question that's unhelpful. I'm just, for instance, a lot of people bring up, I think it's Influence by Robert Cialdini, and they talk about, say, scarcity, time restrictions, et cetera, as sort of tools of persuasion that can be used for good or ill means. But how did you learn to write persuasive copy?
I don't know. My mom was a writer, and reading and writing was always, it sounds like so basic, but it was just something that she always took a lot of pride in, and something that I really cared about. And I guess I had a voice. I didn't realize that until later on when I realized I was building a brand, because there were so many specific things that had become part of the Nasty Gal DNA. But you can take something that may be like an 80s, like big ass, coat capey thing that, some, overweight lady might have bought, and turn it into like this, like avant-garde. You can use a word like avant-garde for something that could be perceived as like outdated and funky on the wrong person, like a lady with a perm, or just like the coolest thing on some like kid with a weird haircut, on the sidewalk. So it's all about context.
Right.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. The first is thumbnails. We are doing this over Skype. For those people who always ask me, I'm using Ecamm call recorder to record this, and an Audio Technica ATR 2100 mic, which is about $60 on Amazon. But your thumbnail for Skype is this rad-looking chick. I don't know who she is. It's a bunch of bikers, naked female bikers, and one of them it looks like a tattoo of flowers and something over one breast, and she's holding a knife. I can't tell exactly what's going on.
Yep, that's pretty accurate.
Where is this from? Or how did you? What is this?
So I'm working on my second book, and I've been like pulling images, just all kinds of inspiration. Some of it will be used in the book, and this is actually an image from a movie called Girl Boss Gorilla.
Gorilla, GUE?
GUE. Yeah. So that was a film that I saw a long time ago that was kind of the inspiration for the name of Girl Boss, and very few people know that. So there's a whole genre of Japanese like cinema called pinky violence, or just pinky films, and it's pretty much like all female revenge and like girl gangs, and they're so cool. Like they're super stylish, and Tarantino's ripped a lot from them.
Yeah.
And this is from Girl Boss Gorilla.
I wonder if, I think Battle Royale, I want to say, is one of those comic books. It's one of like the most violent.
I've seen it.
Violent things you could possibly imagine, which makes you then think of some of, say, the fight scenes in like Kill Bill, in some capacity. But coming back to the writing for a second, well, let me start with a question that I always ask, and we'll go from there. What is the book that you've gifted most to other people?
So the book that I've gifted most to other people is The Richest Man in Babylon, which I talk about in Girl Boss, and it was written like 100 years ago, and it's written as though it was written in biblical times or something. Parables.
Oh yeah, it's parable, or it would be a parable. It'd be like The Alchemist.
Yeah, it's basically parable set in ancient times, describing someone who goes about. This guy who goes about, I forget his name, trying to find out how he can make money, how he can make a life for himself and his family. And he encounters all these different people and lessons along the way. And the advice is, there's some really simple advice, like save 10% of everything that you earn. Don't take advice from the baker if you want to be a cobbler,
Yep.
And it's something that anyone can read and understand. It's like a 1 hour, 2 hour read. It's the tiniest little book. And 100 years later, all of the advice still holds up, which I find really great. And it's a cheap book, and I'm a cheap giver. So I'm kidding. So it would be that in my book, I guess.
The Richest Man in Babylon. And what other writers, just from a writing perspective? So you said your mother was a writer, or your father?
My mom.
What type of writing did she do?
Well, she sold houses for a long time and then kind of quit doing that and started writing about real estate. Mm-hmm. And now she writes about all kinds of stuff, and she's working on her own book. So what was the question?
The question was, I was stuttering and stammering my way to the question, which was, what do you have any favorite writers or writers that you admire or have influenced you? Any of the above? Yeah.
So, Rainer Maria Rilke, I think, is just such it's great.
Could you say that one more time, please?
I think it's Rainer Maria Rilke.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So On Love and Other, what's it called? On Love and Other, maybe it's just On Love. I don't know. Everything I read, almost like everything that I learned from actually reading things or unearthing culture happened before I started the business, because after basically since I was 22, so it's been almost a decade. I feel like my personal, my quest for knowledge was fulfilled by all the challenges that come with building a business. And so things like books that I read for fun and not books that I read to learn stuff kind of went out the door.
Right.
It's like all nonfiction.
The discretionary extracurriculars kind of got consumed or displaced by the work.
Kind of, yeah. It's like I only read things that I can do something practical with now. Mm-hmm. Just, I don't know, not something that makes for a lot of relaxation, but it's fun.
So Rainer Maria Rilke, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but he's come up actually in my life in the last 48 hours. I've had two separate people recommend reading, and I did read this long time ago, but Letters to a Young Poet, which was from 1929. So what do you do? You said it's not relaxing, and I know we're hopping around a lot, but what do you do to relax? Let's just say, looking back at some of the either tougher periods or fastest growing periods in your company, what did you do to decompress? I mean, when you felt overwhelmed or burned out, what did you do? How did you manage that?
God. Sometimes you just kind of explode, and hopefully no one else is around. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was like crying last night. Also,
why were you crying last night? I can't let that go.
Oh my God, I don't know. Just because running a business is really hard.
And what do you do? I mean, do you cry for like 5 minutes and you're done? Do you cry for longer than that? Yeah,
I cried for like 5 minutes and then I was done. Just kind of like, this feels good, so I'm going to just let it happen for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, fuck. It was just one of those, it was the long day. Yeah. But right now, the thing that relaxes me the most is tuning in and turning off with reality TV. I don't know. I just finished watching the entire season of the worst show. It's not, the people are not even compelling. They're like not funny. It's so bad, but you can't stop watching it. It's called Dating Naked.
Dating Naked. Oh my God. I remember I saw a few minutes of this in like a waiting room at a doctor or something. And I was like, that is the most ridiculous premise I've ever seen, but I couldn't stop watching it.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. But you can't stop watching it. You're like, ew, they're butts. And you're like, but I like watching this show. I don't know. Yeah, what else do I do to relax? Hang out with my dogs. They're cool.
These are the three poodles that are related?
They're all siblings, yeah. Mm-hmm. They're different ages. They're like from different litters. But their parents their parents have been busy.
What are their names?
Donna Summer is the oldest one, and she's like 3, and the next one's Cozy Dozer, and Cozy's like, I don't know, maybe just over a year old, and then there's one named Gino, who's named after my husband's grandfather, and he's like, I don't know, maybe 8 months or something.
That's Gino. I want to talk about naming, because naming and titling is really, I've enjoyed reading about how you've gone about it in a few cases. So the Girl Boss Gorilla, I had no idea. So that's new. And I need to get that made into a poster in my house because it's amazing.
You should.
Second, so Gino's after the grandfather. What about the two other dogs? How did you come up with those names, or how were they named?
I don't know. Donna was just like, well, it was kind of like, can we name her Donna Bummer? And then it was like, but that's not very nice. Okay, let's name her Donna Summer. I don't know. I don't know why.
So
she's a cool haircut. And then Cozy was just like super sleepy. And, you know, when we brought Donna home, she was like screaming her head off, just like, don't take me away from my parents. And we were like, oh no, we're awful. And then we brought Cozy home, and Cozy just like kind of slept. It was just like, I'm cool. And she's still like that. So it's just like, let's name her Cozy Dozer.
Cozy Dozer. Now, Nasty Gal.
Mm-hmm.
This is, a lot of folks don't know the origin. Where is the name from?
So the name Nasty Gal, so I used to work at a record store in San Francisco that's no longer around, in Noe Valley, called Streetlight Records, and spent a lot of time. I think music was probably like my first love, way before fashion. I'm not even sure if I'm in love with fashion. And this, I'm not sure if it was just reissued at that time, but I somehow uncovered this album called Nasty Gal by a woman named Betty Davis, who I think is become more well known. But she's the ex-wife of Miles Davis, and she's just this like super outspoken funk singer with a really great band behind her, and just these super raunchy, like awesome lyrics, and she just doesn't give a fuck. So when I was choosing a name for my eBay store, which I never thought I'd be talking about it this much, 9 years later, which is fine. I still like the name. I thought Nasty Gal would be good because there were so many other eBay sellers whose business names were like Lady Standing in the Dust, or like Lady in Tall Grass, or like Boho, just like so like bohemian and kind of like expected. And I was like, I'm gonna name it Nasty Gal. I don't know. I'm just like I'm antagonistic, so I don't know. It worked.
What and looking back at Nasty Gal, I guess a couple of questions. One is, so I've read in different places, different accounts of this. Why leave eBay? What? Yeah.
1 second. Did I actually say that she has an album called Nasty Gal? Because I think I didn't. Because I think I just talked about this lady named Betty Davis.
All right. Well, that's helpful to have that tidbit then. So the album name is Nasty Gal, hence.
Yes.
Bang. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. The transition off of eBay, how did that happen? What's the story behind that?
Well, it wasn't much of a transition. I like to make promises that I'm not sure I can keep and then figure out how to keep them. It's happened a few times in my life.
We will come back to that.
Yeah, it's good. I think you can like will things into happening by just like committing to them sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so I had started to promote the idea of this, coming soon, nastygal.com, nastygalvintage.com was actually the first URL. I had to buy nastygal.com from, you can guess who. But I had started to leave feedback for my customers when...
Wait a second. All right. I actually can't guess. I'm like, Bette Davis? I can't imagine that's the case. Who did you have to buy it from? Was it some
like one
porn company?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Got it. And did you do that through a broker? Did you reach out to them directly, or how
I did it through a broker.
Got it. And where does someone find such a broker to help them if they want to do that?
I don't remember. Someone introduced me to this guy, and it was $8,000.
Nice. That's a good investment right there.
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt, but I had to. My head was spinning with all these incorrect answers.
Yeah.
So you get the domain. You've put up coming soon.
Put up the domain. Yeah, coming soon. Nasty Gal Vintage, and I had started to leave feedback for my customers on eBay, saying like, "Hey, coming soon, nastygalvintage.com." And I was like, "Oh shit, I better build a website. I better actually do this." So I figured it out. I launched the website. And when I launched the website, eBay decided to suspend me around the same time. So it was not a transition. It was literally like, I'm going to try this website thing. I hope I can go back to eBay if it doesn't work out. But it became apparent pretty quickly that wasn't going to be an option. I got suspended for leaving a URL in the feedback for the customers. So eBay doesn't want to send. They don't want you sending traffic off their website.
Yeah, ixnay on the stealing our customers, eh? From
ixnay on the eBay.
Right, exactly. So what the hell did you do? I mean, if suddenly, bam, that entire ecosystem is turned off, what happened in the next kind of like 24, 48 hours?
I had, some people, some editors had heard or seen on the MySpace profile that I was going to launch a website, and they did a little coverage of it when it launched. And it was just kind of like there was a lot of pent up demand. I didn't know I would have any traffic, but the website sold out just instantly. It was like an hour, and there was maybe 150 items on the website when we launched, but there's only one of each of those things. There's just one of a kind. 150 orders still seems like a lot for your first day of doing business, but it was just like I had like Kelly Ripa's stylist calling me asking if I had another one of those like extras, those in it, like vintage jacket and extra small. It's like, no, it's one of a kind. And I don't know, it was very serendipitous that it worked at all, and that, you know, I was able to not have to go back to eBay, if that is even a sentence. I'm not sure.
No, I think we can work without punctuation in this conversation.
Okay.
Especially since I've had enough tea now, and butter and coconut oil to last me for like a Siberian trek. But I'm digressing. The eBay transition / booting off of / jumping headfirst and growing wings on the way down. That was how long after you started selling on eBay?
That was, a year and a half.
And at the point that you launched your site, what did sales look like on eBay for you, if you recall, roughly? Yeah.
So the first year on eBay was like $75,000 in revenue, which, you know, I wasn't paying myself. I mean, I didn't need stuff. I lived in a pool house for $500 a month. Like, I drove an '87 Volvo. Like, I ate Boston Market and Subway, you know, like all the time. So that was like winning the lottery.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think Boston Market's underrated.
It kind of is.
It's like Trader Joe's and Boston Market. It's like, don't knock it until you try it.
Yeah.
And then you start getting these inquiries from, say, Kelly Ripa's stylist. She is extra small. Having been on that show once, she is tiny.
No, she's in such great shape.
She is in amazing shape.
Yeah.
How did you develop those relationships with editors and so on, or was it all out of the blue? I mean, did you ping them?
No, it was like totally inbound at that point. And it wasn't like a giant, you know, there wasn't a ton of news everywhere. It was Daily Candy, you know, rest in peace, and Who What Where. And they just kind of, they followed me on MySpace, they heard about the launch, and they decided to talk about it. And the kind of coverage I got was stuff that brands like Cartier will pay, you know, tens of thousands of dollars, you know, for. But when you're doing something cool, people want to talk about it. And I guess it was cool. I mean, I hate saying that I'm cool, but
no, you can say it was cool, because if you were like, let me tell you how I'm cool, it would be one thing. But you're talking about how the launch was cool. That's fair.
People liked it. They liked it, so they talked about it. If you have something great, people will talk about it. I think that's just kind of like a rule of the internet.
And if someone were launching now, not necessarily fashion or anything like that, but they say, I have this idea for X. We can think something up, like vintage toy cars, let's just say. Okay? I'm sure it's been done, and they say, you know, I would like to build a business based on this. What advice would you give them in terms of kind of testing or de-risking or testing the waters in any way? Or you can answer that in any way, really, that you'd like. But if you had that conversation with someone, and I'm sure you have had probably ad nauseum these types of conversations, but
yeah.
Assuming they're pretty smart, they're willing to do the work, they're detail-oriented, like, what would you say to them?
I would say it's really great to test your product. My MO is like, I'm going to talk about something before I've even launched it and make a big stink about the thing that I'm not, you know, who knows if it's going to work out. And that's just me being kind of like short attention span, instant gratification. But I really think there's a lot of value in being patient, in testing things with like a small group before you go out there and tell the world, ta-da, here I am fully formed, buy into my stuff, buy into what I'm doing. I think there's just a lot of resources as far as selling online goes, it's like having a lemonade stand at this point. So it's an incredibly easy thing to do. Your product should be really differentiated, and the way you talk about it should be unique and really thoughtful. And regardless of whether you're selling, used diapers or used toy cars, sorry. You should really invest in presenting yourself well. And there's websites like Squarespace, obviously, that make that so easy now. So much easier than it used to be. Just finding a graphic designer that can make something look like what you can plug into now for almost no money is incredible.
Yeah. No, the infrastructure, the rentable infrastructure per se, whether it's a Squarespace or a WordPress or someone else, you can have a site up and running within an hour or two. And then you could use, I've mentioned them in the 4-Hour Workweek, but even the marketplaces that exist now for things like designers, right? Or illustrators, like 99 Designs or Fiverr or something like that. I'm having illustrations done for a book right now. With the non-spec version of 99 Designs, these kind of one-on-one projects, and the quality is obscenely high. I've been very, very impressed. So it is a lot easier, and particularly with things like Kickstarter. I think you have also the ability to see how strong your pitch is, right, before you buy inventory or manufacture things.
Yeah. If no one cares, you don't have a customer. It's like you got to see if anyone cares first.
Exactly. And if they're willing to part ways with their dollars. What were some books or resources that helped you in the first few years or overall building Nasty Gal?
Totally. I would say the Dummies Guides are not, they're fine. They're really fine. When I went to raise venture capital, there's one called, I think it's something like How to Be Smarter Than Your Venture Capitalist, like literally something like that. And I read that and I was like, I've raised $70 million, so I guess I figured that out. And there was a book called No Man's Land that I thought was really good. It was about just that period of time where you're too small to be big and you're too big to be small. And most people hire middle management, but middle management have never seen the top. So then you hire more senior management. And I've done that, and even that's challenging. So there's no silver bullet, but reading about other people's experiences of growing and struggling with scaling a business always makes you feel better.
Is the book that you were thinking of Venture Deals, Be Smarter Than Your Lawyer and Venture Capitalist?
No.
It's not.
Maybe it's called like How to Outsmart Your Venture Capitalist or something.
How to Train Your Venture Capitalist.
Yeah, basically. How to Be Smarter Than Your Venture Capitalists. That's what it's called. At least that's what's coming up in the search results. Let me see.
How to Be Smarter Than Your Venture Capitalist?
No. Oh, Venture Deals. Be Smarter Than Your Lawyer. I guess that's it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, that Venture Deals, for people interested in this world, is a great book. That's Brad Feld and his partner. Very, very good investors. What were some of the biggest challenges for scaling an e-commerce business? What were some of the harder things that you had to contend with? Let's just keep it focused on you, but the company, of course, as it's growing. I've spoken with people like Phil Libin of Evernote on the podcast, and he's like, well, like this, gent who runs Rakuten, he's saying you should always plan on like, what if it's 3 times bigger? What if it's 10 times bigger? There's sort of these phase shifts where systems have to be completely redone. But for you in growing the company, what were some of the hardest periods for you?
Yeah, I would say scaling is really hard. So I would say infrastructure, so systems. We still don't have the systems that we would like to have to be able to plan our business and evaluate our business and talk about it. And
what would be some examples of systems?
It's really kind of like unglamorous stuff, like an ERP system, like enterprise resource planning, which basically connects the dots between different departments like finance and, merchandise and whatever else. And right now, everything that we do is living in kind of disparate systems that don't talk as much as they could.
Right.
So that's a struggle today. What else? I mean, I would say people. I would say having never really been a manager prior to starting the business that is Nasty Gal. My dream scenario at one point was not getting out of a bathrobe and eating Boston Market, with my hands and then encountering, hundreds of, a team of hundreds who are looking up at you. It's like a really scary thing. And they all assume that you...
I thought you meant your dream was walking into the office of hundreds of people in your bathrobe. And I was like, that's very Wolf of Wall Street. I kind of like that visual, like eating lobster tails while you walk through the office.
I would do that, but I haven't. Should I start over because I didn't make sense?
No.
Okay.
No, it does make sense. I mean, what did you view now you are no longer CEO. Is that correct?
No. Yes, correct.
When you were CEO, what did you view as your job?
As entrepreneur CEO, it's really tough because there's so many things that I've been a part of and done over the course of the company's history. And I'm also kind of the brand cop. The brand is my voice. The vision has kind of grown out of the beginnings, the DNA of what was the Nasty Gal origin story. So there's never been a point where I could just be like the cut and dry, I'm the CEO kind of person. I'm the cultural leader. I'm all of these things. It was so many things. So, when you're growing a business, it's really hard to say, no, I'm not going to plug that hole. I'm not going to edit the photos. I'm not going to, companies spring leaks. And when you've done so many different things, it's easy to sprout arms and fingers and just start overextending yourself by filling in the gaps as they present themselves over the course of, so it was not, I don't think I got to choose what I did as much as I perhaps would have liked to. And even today, I'm not sure if I have that privilege because you kind of have to do what the company needs you to do for it to continue operating or to be its very best. And 9 years of that is a really long time. And I think my greatest strengths are with the brand and with marketing the brand and with the creative and the things that in the beginning built Nasty Gal. And that's what I'm hoping I can focus on today.
How do you try to keep the team on the same page so that sort of brand aesthetic and spirit doesn't get fragmented and turned into some Frankenstein monster where you've become brands that you loathe or whatever? You get the idea. How do you try to steer that?
You can really quickly become a caricature of yourself. Like a spoof of
right.
of like what you've done best. And I think it's a matter of talent, but it's also coaching. But at the end of the day, I think you really need to have tools that everyone can rally around and say, hey, this is what it is. This is what the brand is. This is what we're all signing up to do. Not this is my idea versus your idea versus your idea. Because I think culture, like in a business that people really are excited to work at, culture can be used as a weapon. I think the brand can be used as a weapon. I think there have been times where people who are really cool and actually do get what the brand is find themselves really frustrated because not everybody gets it the way they do. And they start to say, well, Sophia said this, or Sophia wouldn't like that. And it's like, don't sling me around. Like, that's not cool. And so we've been spending the last several months actually working on somewhat of a brand Bible, but also just filters for how we make decisions about what the voice is and how we take pictures and, the world that is the Nasty Gal world and what the guardrails are that people can explore within. We always want to leave room for people to be creative, but it takes out the objectivity the subjectivity. Oh my God, my brain's not working. Basically, it makes it not personal. So
yeah. Makes it more objective or depersonalized.
Yeah, so it's easy for it to be like, oh, well, that's not on brand because I said so. It's like, oh, hey, we're all trying to do the same thing. Let's look at this thing that sits outside of us and our taste, our ego, whatever. Let's talk about what it is rather than what we think it is. So you have to have those things defined for people to have conversations about, and that's something I'm really excited to have.
There's a really cool handbook. I think it's just called the Handbook for New Employees for a company called Valve, which is a software company. It's one of the coolest sort of employee orientation handbooks that I've ever seen. I had a chance to meet, I guess it was Gabe Newell at one point in Seattle. And I was somebody else then recommended I see this handbook. It's really cool. You should check it out. I think you might enjoy it, and people listening might get something out of it. You can find the free PDF if you just search Valve Employee Handbook. It's pretty sweet.
I think I've seen that. It's really beautiful. It's this teeny little cool thing.
Yeah, it's really well done. Great illustrations, but lays out the basic ground rules, right, for working within this somewhat unusual culture. Now, you mentioned before I derailed us with the Wolf of Wall Street analogy and you walking around in a bathrobe eating lobster tails, which actually I have to quick anecdote. So when I was in college, one of my buddies, and I was in New Jersey, and one of my buddies ends up calling us from Atlantic City, and he's like, there are limos coming to get you. You have to come to Atlantic City. We show up, and he's just been on a bender and made like $200,000 blackjack and proceeds to spend it all in the next 48 hours. And he was walking around the casino in a bathrobe eating, and he ordered lobster tails for everyone on the like blackjack floor.
Wow.
And so I was kind of imagining like you could be that person, but with like a martini glass.
I love just doing absurd things like that because you can. Like that's.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you about managing, and I will, but absurd things. What are some absurd things that you've done?
Oh my gosh. I'm getting on a bus that I'm calling a girl bus, #girl bus. And well, it's like later at the end of this month, and it's just the paperback. It's the Girl Boss paperback, and it has a new introduction in it. It's the introduction to the introduction, I guess, just talking about what's happened over the last year a little bit. And we're going to like 10 different cities on this crazy tour bus. It's like I'm a Spice Girl or something. And, throwing events at different venues and some bookstores. And it's just like, it's really absurd to be riding around like Hillary Clinton in like a campaign bus, basically. But Penguin wanted to do it, and I thought it was just like too good to pass up. And it's really funny to have your face and the cover of your book like slathered across the side of like a giant tour bus.
Yeah, I would imagine. What about managing? Let's talk about that. So the managing of people, you had no experience prior to Nasty Gal. Now it's grown, of course, tremendously. Who were the mentors, or what were the things that helped you learn to manage to the extent that you were able?
Oh my God, I think I'm still learning. Wait, say that again?
Yeah, that was a word salad question.
Okay.
Who are the mentors or like the resources that helped you learn to manage other people? Because I think that's a weakness of mine, quite frankly. I'm good at defining systems, but I'm not always. For instance, I mean, I was not raised by, that sounds weird. I was coached by a lot of athletic coaches who were always kind of very short with praise. They didn't do a lot of head pats, but heavy on criticism and very meticulous. And so I am often very bad at providing praise when I probably should, because I don't feel like I was ever given it. Therefore, it's not really necessary.
Totally. Yeah.
But
I'm the same. I think I'm the same.
But that causes all sorts of problems, right? At least in my
people are
experience.
like, we don't feel appreciated. And it's like, oh my God, I totally appreciate you. But like, I respect your intelligence enough not to like be like I don't know. It's just,
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, because I've always been told, like, look, the good stuff. I remember I had a VP of sales at one point when my first job out of college, and he said, I would give him all the story and the backstory, tell him all this stuff about every client. He's like, Tim, I don't need the story. I just need to know next steps. And second, I don't need to know the good news because that takes care of itself. I need to know the bad news. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I've kind of adopted that, but you end up in a position where people can get very demoralized in a culture where people aren't getting or don't have the ability to celebrate little wins and so on. Who has helped you to become a better CEO when you were a CEO or a better manager?
I've had some executive coaches along the way. I think knowing the difference and then actually living the difference are two different things. And I think I'm pretty aware of the things what my shortcomings are as a manager, as a leader, as a fill in the blank. I'm not, I think I have experienced the same thing where especially if you're entrepreneurial, which I think we can both like safely say we are, no one's giving you those pats on the back. And when you find yourself in a position to be doling those out, you don't really relate because that's not something that you ever required. I'm an only child. I had a really mean dad. I mean, he's awesome now, but like it was criticism after criticism, and it makes you self-aware enough to calibrate on your own in a lot of ways, even though I'm totally open to, I love, criticism but I think when you're like a solo act at any point in your life and have to manifest things without the team, without the amazing team that we have today, you become really good at being your own critic and also your own pat on the back, or you're motivated maybe by different things. And that's a hard thing to relate to as an entrepreneur who's leading people. And I think that's definitely been one of my shortcomings. But I'm always like seeking advice, and I'm always seeking to better myself. I think leadership, management, chops, whatever you want to call it, is something that comes over time. A lot of things are just learned over time with repetition. And that's something that I have, that's one part of the job that I've had is managing people, leading people. But there's been a million other things that I've done over the course of, Nasty Gal's trajectory, and having someone like Sherry, our CEO, who has a lifetime of those chops behind her, who wakes up every day inspired, not just inspired to lead people, but knows how to do it in a way that will work, is such a cool thing to witness.
And when you were in the CEO role, who were the other CEOs out there, alive or dead, that you admired and really looked to as role models?
Good question. I've always admired Natalie Massenet, who founded Net-a-Porter. She hasn't been the CEO for a long time, but she's just like an incredible woman.
Why is she incredible?
She's a mother of two. She started a company she started an e-commerce business long before most of us had the idea to. She's been told, I think people like kind of scoffed when, she said, I'm going to sell a $30,000 handbag on the internet, or sell shoes on the internet, or these things that have become really commonplace. And she's also just a super duper down to earth woman who's funny and sweet and gives great advice and who's seen a lot. And, there's not a ton of examples that I think are similar to hers. Mickey Drexler is also an incredible CEO.
Mickey Drexler?
Yeah. Do you know who Mickey Drexler is?
I don't. I'm embarrassed to say it.
Oh my God.
But I shan't tell a lie.
Okay. He's the CEO at J.Crew right now, and he used to be the CEO at Gap, and he's kind of like a retail legend. I think he's called like the Merchant Prince or Merchant King or something like that.
It's cool. It's a cool nickname.
I know, right? I know. He's he's someone who's given me advice along the way, just really great advice, and connecting me to people that I've ended up, great people beget great people. It's just when you meet someone awesome, it's common that I find the people that they surround themselves with the people that I also like. And it's just such a cool thing. It's like, I don't know. It's like, you don't have to, it's like going to never mind.
Wait, no. I want you to finish that thought. That was about to get interesting.
I was going to start babbling like about Yelp reviews, and it's like a Yelp review for a person. It's just like it was not an intelligent thought, so I gave up.
I should learn to do that more often. I would embarrass myself a lot less. What was some of the advice that Mickey has given you that has stuck with you? It doesn't have to be specifically business. It could be anything.
I mean, his advice was to stay CEO, which is really funny. It's definitely stuck with me, but I ignored it. Let me think. Ugh.
I can give you an escape hatch for this.
My memory blows.
I can give you a whole slew of pills and potions for that, but we will do that separately. Have you met David Cho?
No.
You haven't? Okay. Somebody asked online what you learned from him, and I was
David Cho?
Yeah, the graffiti artist who ended up, I guess, worth $500 million after Facebook. I believe I'm saying his last name.
Oh, cool. What did I learn from him? No, I didn't. That's cool.
But you haven't met him.
What I learned about him was everything that you just told me. That's
okay. Okay, got it. Yeah, I've been hoping to. I find his story fascinating, so I'm hoping to connect with him at some point.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's just made some really fascinating creative decisions that I'd love to dig into. But anyway, that's a whole separate story. What do you struggle with the most, and how do you deal with it?
I struggle with doing it all the most. I struggle with feeling like I don't have time for everyone who I want to have time for and who I assume wants my time. For my friends and for my husband and for my parents and for my team. It's just time is a really finite thing, and prioritizing it so that you can, so you can be your best, so that you can, have real solid time with people. So you can also find time to be alone or to take a vacation. It's just, there's not enough time. So I'm always feeling like I'm letting someone down, or I'm just, it's like my calendar is booked up for the next month and a half now. And it's just, it's not always like that, but to look out at the rest of the year, it's kind of like, it's over. Like the year's over, year's over. That's something, I don't know if I kind of hope that my life isn't always like that, but there's got to be great things if you're planning that far out, I guess. I feel very lucky for that. And the answer to your question really is feeling like I don't have all the time I wish I had to spend with all the people that I wish I could spend it with.
No,
and how do I deal with that?
Yeah, how do you deal with it? And let me ask, in combination with that, and this is maybe a very silly question. You obviously are very driven, and that it sometimes leads people to find it difficult to hit the pause button or downshift. But you've stepped out of the CEO role. I would think, as an outsider looking in, of course, you're still going to be very involved as chairman. But why can't you create more time? Why can't you block out time?
Because the company still needs me for my things, and I still partner with my CEO and still spend a lot of time with her. I'm drumming up opportunities for the business, whether it's a collaboration or, weighing in on something creative. I still spend time there. I've signed up for more things than I probably should have, but everyone should be so. I don't know. I feel like saying no is just, it doesn't create opportunities. So I'm throwing all that I can into the air and to see how much I can actually handle. I don't know. I'm like a glutton for punishment. So, it's like I'm launching a podcast next month. I'm like promoting this paperback. I'm working on another book. I'm like, who knows? I mean, I want Girl Boss to become its own thing. Girl Boss is so much more than a book. It should be a business. It should be conferences. It should be so many things beyond what it is. It's just a matter of doing it, of making the time and finding the team. And oh my God, what am I going to start another business? I'm not sure, but just doing all I can with all that I have and connecting things that shouldn't connect is what really, really gets me excited, because that's where invention happens, and that's where I just get like really, really excited about things. So
what were some of the key inflection points for the company? So if you look back over the last 10 years or whatever it is, what were some of the key inflection points that allowed Nasty Gal to become what it is, right? Because I can think back, for instance, with the 4-Hour Work Week, I can think very specifically to like the day that Robert Scoble at the time put something on his blog was a clear inflection point. That was a clear inflection point. The appearance on Dr. Oz, clear inflection point.
So,
meeting certain people, getting advice from, say, Michael Gerber, who wrote the E-Myth Revisited. And before I even wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, he said, if you're going to write a book, write a fucking book. Like, don't half-ass it, because a mediocre book is more of a liability than a help. And blah, 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 right? So I can point to very clear introductions, meetings, blah. What are some of those for you and Nasty Gal?
yeah, I would say it was launching. I mean, the first one would be just launching the eBay store. The next one would be selling a Chanel jacket that I bought for $8 for over 1,000. The next one would probably be launching the website and having it sell out just overnight. And then pretty soon after that, hiring my first employee. After that, it would be buying things that weren't vintage. So buying a small, medium, and large of something from a trade show and bringing in new brands and testing and seeing if our customer had an appetite for more than just vintage, which they did. And then it was like, I think scaling that's not an inflection point. But what happened, we outgrew our space in Benicia. I mean, we've moved so many times, but I would say after that, it was raising $50 million from Index Ventures. For me personally, it was 4 pages in Forbes in 2012.
How did the 4 pages in Forbes happen? Because there's often some backstory, right? Not all of them are just gifts from heaven that get dropped in your lap, and maybe this was. But how did that come together? I mean, that's a significant.
Wait, how did what drop in my lap?
No, how did it come together? I'm not saying it did drop in your lap. Forbes, yeah.
Oh my God, the way media works is, well, it was someone who I had met through Index. Her name was Julie Supan, and she was friends with someone who wrote at Forbes, and they were getting brunch, and she mentioned me, and the reporter got interested, and then I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never talked to the media before, and then Julie used to run like PR at YouTube, and she consults for startups, and she's kind of like a maestro of all things publicity. And she was like, well, now that you have someone writing a profile on you in Forbes, you probably need my help. So I don't know. She did a great job, and so I hired her, and she helped me, just coach me through it. She was like, they're going to want you to look like a billionaire. That's their, we've had to reshoot other stuff that I've worked on with Forbes because they didn't think that the entrepreneur in his hoodie looked like a billionaire. So it's so funny. It's really funny just how all of that works. And so now I show up at photo shoots and I'm like, what do you want me to be? Okay, I'm bringing it. It's like so dorky, but it's like whatever. You just try to do your best. What was that? What was that like? That was cool.
What were some other pieces of advice that you got, or things you've learned about interacting with media?
God, I've learned so much. I feel like
I'll give one. Always do fact check corrections via email and not phone.
Yeah, that's cool. That's smart.
You need a paper trail of that stuff. I've misquoted so many times.
Really?
Yeah, and then that will sneak its way into Wikipedia, and then it's a big quagmire to fix.
I mean, I think it's just that like the media always wants something to talk about, and they can skew things for their own, fun. And it's, there's a time where I think I believed a lot of what I read out there, and I still believe a lot of it. But when there's controversy, it's often just to serve clicks and, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I'm just kind of babbling, but be careful with what you say. And if you don't have anything to say, then just don't say anything. I think it's okay to say no.
Yeah. Definitely. And also, I mean, one thing that I've learned, because if you take something out of context, like one sentence out of a paragraph, it can make you look like, a hero or a complete ass or a misogynist or an asshole or any number of things. So the context is so important. What I've been doing for the last couple of years is if I send a response via email to a journalist, I'll just say, thank you for using this in its entirety. I do not give permission to slice and dice this. If it's going to be cut down, I need to give you permission. Mm-hmm. And not everybody responds well to that, but usually the ones who respond poorly to that, if it's diplomatically worded, are the people who already had an agenda to slant something in a really unnecessarily sort of incendiary way.
And even like the most, some of the best journalists I've worked with, they'll write a really positive story and then they'll throw in some shit just for their own credibility to make sure they don't sound like some big fan. Yeah. So there's always going to be some shit that they like say that you're going to be like grumpy about, but it makes them credible and you just kind of have to like stomach it.
Yeah. And you can actually, you can help them also. You can facilitate things by saying like, here are 2 or 3 of my detractors, but that can also give you, as long as they're, say, factual attackers.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Once I walked like an ogre in heels, and it's like, no. Like, I've like go danced in public in fucking heels. I'm pretty sure I can walk in heels. It was just like, no. Like, it's fine, but like of all the things, like, I can walk in heels, okay? Just like pick something. Just there's plenty of things to criticize. Jesus, if you catch me in like if in the corner, I'm probably picking my nose. Like, just like find something real. Talk about that. Plenty.
When are you happiest?
Oh God, I'm happiest when I'm like running down a trail in Big Sur, downhill just a little downhill, like, and you jump and you feel like you fly like 20 feet. It's almost like a dream.
Yes.
I think that's the best feeling, is being like, I'm in a video game, but it's real. Like, this is real life. And it's like, I think just like running down a trail in the forest is like maybe the best feeling ever.
That's such a good answer. That's a great answer. Side note, if you come back to San Francisco, I'm sure that'll happen at some point. There's a place called House of Air, which is basically a humongous building full of trampolines at different angles.
Oh, God.
And you can feel like you're in the Matrix. It's amazing. Do you struggle with depression or anything like that? And you don't have to. I'm not.
Oh, totally.
It's not intended as.
Totally. I've
do.
struggled with depression my whole life. I've been in and out of therapy my whole life. They tried to tell me I had ADD and give me some stuff in high school, and they tried to give me stuff for depression. It's made me feel super wired. I think when I got busy, that went away. More than anything, I think I struggle with anxiety. So I can hit the ceiling by like 11 a.m. If something just doesn't go right. I mean, I don't like yell or pound my fists. I'm not like a person in the office who throws things. But if I'm not happy, ain't nobody happy, like in the room, basically. It's just kind of like, it's not, so I'm not good at like hiding my feelings. It's unfortunate. And then there's people who value it, and I try to keep those people around. Depression's like a gnarly thing.
How do you contend with that? And I ask as someone who has similar ups and downs and has for as long as I can remember. But what are your coping mechanisms?
If it's, it's easy to point at things in your life that are out of your own control. Like I've pointed at I got married like 3 months ago, but there's been times where I pointed at Joel and I was like, you're the problem. And it's like, no, you're not solving your own problems. Like, I think you can just look everywhere outside of yourself to fix your problems, and thank God I'm not like, I don't have like addiction issues or anything, because I'm totally, if that ran in my family, I'd be a total mess, I think. I don't know. I've taken antidepressants at different times, and some are better than others. But I generally like to stay pretty kind of, I don't know, alcohol can help. Yeah.
That's I'm not sorry. I'm not getting
Alcohol in
we'll come back
reality,
to
I'm telling you. I'm laying off
your-
the booze more now though, but I mean I can have one glass of wine and I'm like the happiest, most like charismatic, like, you know, just fun person when and
effusive.
yeah, and when I'm not drinking, I'm like, you don't want to
Buoyant.
walk up and talk to me. Like I'm not friendly. Like I'm not unfriendly. I'm just not open, you know? I'm just kind of like stuck in my head, you know. I don't know.
What's your go-to wine drink or your go-to wine?
Yeah, I like white wine. A lot of bars don't have white wine, but it would just be like I don't know. I started drinking Chardonnays. I like those. Oh, I got a Gewürztraminer.
Oh,
It's really good, right?
It's really good. Very minerally.
You know what's a good one is the Cliff family, the Cliff Bar people. I went to this thing in Napa. Oh my God, I sound like so cool now. But I went on a bike ride. It was basically my investors have a retreat every year, and all of the entrepreneurs and the partners at their firm get together. And this is at at Calistoga Ranch, which is like a really beautiful place in Napa.
Gorgeous.
Super pretty fancy. And then they have these activities, you know, so you hear people talk and there's really cool people, like Jerry Yang spoke at the last one. And just it's really interesting. And then they have this, you know, these activities. And one of them was, you know, road biking up to a winery and then having a glass of wine. I was like, yeah, I'm getting in shape for my wedding. Like if I'm going to drink wine, I should get on a bike first. Right. And oh my God, all these guys, they're all European for one. And they're like, you know, they're like wealthy guys who like have their own shoes and like all the clothes and like do this. They like do it as a thing, you know. They're like those guys who have
all the cycling. So they're like $5,000 worth of gear. I
thought it was like I was just like going on a bike ride for fun, and I was just, oh my God, I was the only person that like didn't finish it. I had to get in the car and like get a ride to the top of the hill. Anyway, and at the top of the hill was Cliff Family Winery. I don't know why I'm like I don't know them. I'm not trying to like plug anything. It was just like I'd never heard of Gewürztraminer, and I bought a few bottles and like had it shipped to my house. And yeah, I guess a white crispy wine.
Yeah, that's super tasty stuff. Sancerre's pretty good go-to for a lot of folks. I guess I usually do a gin tonic, sort of Hendrix and soda is kind of my go-to if I don't want to have a nasty headache, or tequila, as you've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tequila's gnarly.
You have to go with the good stuff if you're going to do tequila. So the Casa de Dragones is very expensive but very tasty. With that, no headache. I mean, you saw me. I had a fair amount to drink, but no headache the next day. No cognitive dysfunction. Felt just fine. When you think of the word successful, and I know that's a gnarly, dicey word, but who's the first person who comes to mind for you?
Yeah. Successful. The word success is really conflicted for me because it sells people this idea that there's like a destination. I think there's people who can have manifested things that in the world that make more noise than other people, but success can just be as being a stay-at-home mom, if that's your dream. Success can be having a small business and keeping it that way and laying low because that's what you want and that's the life that you want. I really want, you know, and as someone who's public, it's kind of like it's a hairy thing because I'm out there and I have a book and, you know, I have a business and I sell things and whatever, but I just really want people to remember that they're capable of doing everything that the people they admire are doing. Maybe not everything, but if don't be so impressed. I guess that's where, you know, where my head goes is, you know, there's no reason that you can't have the things that the people that you admire have. And so success just sells this kind of like ultimate destination when even though I've accomplished something and you've accomplished something and whatever, it's like I told you I was crying last night. It's not like weehoo, like I'm done. I've arrived or anything like that. If you have any amount of hustle and any amount of humility, you know that it all could go away tomorrow, and that you should do everything that you can with it now, with what you have today. So I guess it's a very philosophical way of saying, when I hear the word success, I don't know what Warren Buffett. It's like
Tough.
I don't know.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough when you said don't ask the cobbler if you're a bricklayer or whatever. I was thinking of Warren Buffett when you said that, because he often says don't ask a barber if you need a haircut, which is he's full of those.
Totally.
He's full of those. Let me ask just a couple of rapid fire questions. You don't have to have rapid fire answers, but just because I know that people will ask me why I didn't ask them if I leave them out. What is your favorite documentary or movie?
My favorite movie might be a film called The Color of Pomegranates, and it's by this guy Sergei Parajanov. I'm not even sure if I pronounced it correctly. He was like a Georgian filmmaker, and it's basically a moving painting. It's just one of the most, there's almost no dialogue. It's just one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen. And I grew up Greek Orthodox, and I'm just still kind of enchanted with Eastern, the visuals of like Eastern Europe. Yeah.
Sounds gorgeous. Yeah, I need to sort of fill up my roster, so I'll add that to the list. What are you world class at that people might not realize, or what do your friends know you're world class at that the rest of the world doesn't know about?
What did I put on my thingy?
I don't know. I didn't read it. So for those people listening, I could look it up. I send some of these questions in advance just so people don't get totally stumped, which happens. But I didn't look at the answers because I wanted to be fresh for conversation. I could pick it up. I could look it up. Bear with me a second. I'll pick it up.
Oh my God. I can use my brain. Hold on.
That's okay. It's, so let's see. We got, playing catch.
Oh my God. Yeah. I guess playing catch. I'm like, I can have really good coordination to the point of it like being freaky. Like if I drop something, I can be like looking the other direction, like scratching my armpit with one hand, and then like swoop in, and like cat-like reflexes, like that happens sometimes, but it even surprises me. And also I'm good at playing catch.
Did you play athletics or sports growing up, or no?
I played soccer. I mean, I played basketball. I played softball when I was like in third grade, and then I played soccer a lot. I snowboarded a lot. You never hacky sacked.
San Francisco awaits when you come back. We can do some like hula hooping.
Totally.
And devil
you have to
sticks
teach me how to break dance.
I could teach you. I could give some basics. We could do 6-stepping next time you come along. What are the most common misconceptions about you?
I think people. Well, I met some people yesterday who thought they were like. I was like, what surprises you most? We spent some time, and I showed them the office and talked to them about my business, and I was like, well, what surprised you? And they said, well, you're not as egotistical as I thought you'd be. And I was like, wow. I mean, that's not insulting. You from the outside, you put yourself on the cover of a book with your hands on your hips and, whatever. And maybe you expect something different, but that was pleasant response.
Yeah, it's better than the other way around.
Yeah.
Right? Like, wow, you're so much more megomaniacal than I could have
imagined. Oh my God,
imagined.
get me away from you.
If you could have a billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say and where would you put it?
If I could have a billboard, I'd put nothing on it and I'd put it everywhere.
Just an empty billboard? I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to go back and see if there's anything else that you'd stop telling women to smile.
Yeah, that's just like such a grumpy billboard, though. I changed my mind. I'd rather just have nothing. Like, you project what you want onto the billboard.
But okay, that's and since I've given you this imaginary billboard, you're entitled to do that. But I want to hear the backstory on Stop Telling Women to Smile. What's the story backstory there?
Well, it's something that I've said. I mean, I've said just like, stop, don't tell me to smile, or like, I mean, if you're a girl who's not like, who a guy wants to talk to and you intimidate them because you aren't like giggling or whatever, they'll like it's like we're there for your pleasure. Or, I don't know what it is, but it's happened to me from as early as I can remember. Just like, you should smile more. Just like, oh, you look really pretty when you smile. And it's like, that's nice. Thanks. But there's something that's like, you're here for me. So can you just smile if I have to like look at you, you know, cause you're making like a woman evaluating me just makes me feel like emasculated or something, kind of, you know, like they just like don't know how to handle it. And it's really frustrating and honestly pretty insulting. And then I found out that there's a woman named, what is her name? I mean, she has like this, she's an artist. I think she's in Brooklyn, and she started something called Stop Telling Women to Smile. And someone was telling me about it the other day, and her name is Tatiana Fazlizadeh. Oh my God. Fazlizadeh.
It's a tough
yeah,
name.
it's just a long name. I'm embarrassed of how I did that. But she has like wheat paste posters and like kind of like a campaign, like Stop Telling Women to Smile, like I'm not your baby, that kind of shit, which is just, I wouldn't put, you know, if I could put one thing in a billboard, it would probably be nothing. Maybe Nasty Gal if it was free, you know.
Yeah. What was your thinking process around stepping out of the CEO role?
Now,
How'd that come
about? The things that I find myself that I think I'm good at are not the things that a CEO wakes up every day to do. Running an executive team of C-levels who have more experience, you know, than I've been in, you know, than I've been in business for, or it's like like I said earlier, there's just a totally different skill set that comes with leading people and giving praise and repeating what we're all here to do. There's a lot of repetition actually. And I'm the kind of person that's like, what, you didn't hear me the first time? Which is I'm not saying I'm proud of that. I just think that's kind of that's just like how I roll. And there's an art to leadership. And, I wanted to focus on the creative parts of the business. You know, the book kind of had its own, it kind of made me the face of the company, which I wasn't prior. And so there's things that come along with that are good for Nasty Gal, but take my time and take me out of the office. And there's nothing worse than feeling like you've abandoned the people who are reporting to you who need your time. It's just a matter of choosing. So I chose, and it was something that I've been thinking about for a long time.
What was the first day like, or night after you made the decision and you'd finally kind of made the call and knew that you were no longer going to be CEO?
I think it was just a lot of relief and just feeling like I had done the right thing. I was really happy for Sherry, my CEO, and it just seemed kind of like a non-event to our team. I expected more of a reaction, but they were like, what's the difference? Sherry's in all hands meetings and she speaks. We know who she is. What's different? I don't think it was a huge change for most of our team, which felt good, I guess. Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's huge. That's a big deal.
I expected a lot more questions, and I was kind of bummed that people weren't freaked out. They're like, okay, cool, got it.
We've been waiting for years for that to happen.
Yeah.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I'm just kidding. What $100 or less purchase has most positively impacted your life in recent memory?
I had a hamburger yesterday.
Hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of hamburger? I mean, was it a particularly interesting hamburger? Or?
I don't know. I mean, the one thing. I mean, I can think harder on this, but
it's basically just inexpensive stuff that you get a lot of value out of.
Let me think. I'm looking at a manicure. Manicures are like they're good. They're like, they make you feel better, but they cost like, I get gels, so I don't know, maybe they're like 20 or $30, and you don't hate your hands as much. I don't know. What else? Under $100. Not a lot is under $100. It's like a hamburger or, probably a glass of wine. Oh my God. That's
true.
the theme here.
It's a glass. No, glass of wine's good. I actually bought one of my favorite bottles of wine I've ever had. I bought from Trader Joe's. They have great wine service. I mean, the people really know what they're talking about. It's $4 for a bottle of white wine. And if you want to upgrade that, you get the, I really like Rombauer Chardonnay.
Oh yeah, Rombauer's good.
Yeah, 2004 I think I had, which was amazing. And not that expensive. That was the first white wine I ever bought a case of. I thought I would never buy a case of white wine ever. I've always been a red wine guy, and Rombauer Chardonnay was the one that made the difference. What does the first 60 minutes of your day look like? Now, I'm going to ask that a little retrospectively. When you were CEO of the company, on a day where you look back and you're like, "Fuck yeah, kicked ass today," what did the first 60 to 90 minutes of your day look like, or what were your morning routines?
Yeah, I mean, I usually, and a day that ends well is one that started with exercise. That's for sure.
That's so key.
I usually eat, for breakfast. So I wake up. Let me just.
What time do you wake up?
I don't know, like 6:30, 7. Most people are like exercising at 6:30 or 7, but I don't know. I stay up. I'm like, I just keep weird hours. So I wake up, I take my Invisalign out of my mouth because I sleep with these braces in, basically. And before that, it was a mouth guard because I clench my teeth because I'm a freak. But I recently Botoxed my jaw so that I can't clench my teeth as much.
Whoa! So wait, you injected fat into your mandible space?
Fat. It's just something that basically makes your muscle weaker, so that you aren't such a. I'm like Hulk smash. Like I clench my teeth like the fucking Hulk.
Oh no! I sometimes like wake up with blood.
Oh my
in
God!
Mouth guard because I'm clenching my teeth.
Just by looking at your face. That's what happens.
Would I have like really overdeveloped jaw muscles like a pit bull?
I do. Hold on. Let me look at. I'll just Google you right now. No, but it does. That's what happens. I have a jaw muscle. No, you don't. Yeah, you have a strong jaw, but when you're a girl, that is like a kind of a masculine thing. Whatever. But yeah, it also just you wake up with a headache. So I did that. That helped. I think that's helping actually. And then I wake up. I might pee. I chug water. I'll chug a bunch. I try to chug a bunch of water, but I don't always. And then I drink coffee with heavy cream in it.
How do you make your coffee?
We have a thing called a Jura, like a Jura. It's some company, and it's just like basically you put the beans in, it grinds them, and it's just a coffee maker, I guess. But it's like a fancy coffee maker, and it does a good job.
Jura.
Jura, yeah. But I put hot water in the glass. I fill the mug up about halfway with hot water, and then I put shots of coffee. I guess it's espresso. I don't know. Are coffee beans and espresso beans the same thing?
They are often roasted slightly differently, but my understanding is you're just using kind of more beans for the volume in the case of espresso. Okay. But the darker the roast is, my understanding is the lower the caffeine is. Interestingly enough, but yeah, you're basically making an Americano.
Yeah,
is
making
what it sounds like.
And we use David Lynch coffee. If you haven't tried it, it's pretty good.
David Lynch, like the
yes,
filmmaker?
He has his own coffee.
Are you serious? So he not only has Transcendental Meditation Foundation in schools for at-risk youth, he also has his own. Wow, man, I'm really lisping like hell right now. But he also has his own coffee.
Totally, look up David Lynch coffee. I just did. It's pretty good.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. My husband found it, but and then so I'll have.
Okay, so you have your coffee with why heavy cream?
I don't know. Someone told.
I'm a big fan of heavy cream.
Someone told me it's like better for your stomach, and now the whole thing is that like fat's good for you, so I care even less. But I already knew that, so.
Yep.
And then I'll have one of maybe three things. I have rolled oats with a little bit of honey and a little bit of milk and a little bit of salt with raisins usually, just made on the stovetop. And then, or I will have a pancake that I make out of rolled oats. So I crack 4 egg whites into a bowl, and then I put 2 cups of dry rolled oats in, and then I stir it around, and the eggs kind of help the oats congeal. And then, and then I shape it into a pancake in a pan, and then I heat it up a little bit, and then I put it on a plate, and I put applesauce on it and a little bit of maple syrup, and I eat it, and it's really good.
That sounds amazing.
But it's 2 ingredients, which is crazy. And it doesn't look as good as it tastes. It's pretty decent. And
I bet that would be really good with like some nutmeg.
So, or I drink like a white smoothie, which is like has apple and Greek yogurt and some cinnamon. And it's just like pretty simple. But so some of that stuff, some of those recipes came from this guy that I trained with named Harley Pasternak. Have you heard of him?
I have heard that name. Yeah, so he trains with UFC fighters,
probably,
right? Or am I making
probably.
that up?
He's like a celebrity trainer type, and he has people that work for him. And
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking about Mike Dolce, I think, instead of Harley Pasternak. Yeah, but Pasternak. I've heard
he has some books and stuff. He's awesome, and I've just gotten some cool recipes from him. So those are his recipes. And then I don't know, I guess I shower, and then I'll go work out, depending. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and then start my day. Sometimes I'll roll out of bed and have a phone call. And, it's like we have a call. We're on a kind of like a call now. And it's like I haven't showered. I don't know. I'm at home. Sometimes I'll have calls for a while before I go in the office. Sometimes I won't go in the office because I'm working on something that I need to focus on. And that's hard to do in the office. And I don't know, every day is different. But they all start pretty much the same.
When you work out, what if you could only choose a couple of exercises for the rest of your life, what would they be? And the reason I'm asking is I saw this photograph on your Instagram account, which I thought was hilarious, and it was you on I want to say an elliptical, and it said preparing the centaur for her wedding day or something like that.
Yeah,
and because you have very well developed glutes, put it that way.
Creepy conversation. I think I have to go. I'm kidding.
No, this is purely anatomical. Speaking as an exercise physiologist, and so those don't look like they came from ellipticals, or is that just a God-given gift?
I can't.
Because when I think now, you're Greek.
I'm Greek,
right?
Italian, and Portuguese.
All right. That explains. Okay. So I knew only about the Greek part. And I'm like, not usually. Like if it was like, yes, I'm 80% Brazilian, I'd be like, okay, that makes
no.
That
and
makes
people
sense.
actually like get surgery and make their butts. It's like I can't. If I wear a dress, like the top fits, but then I can't get the bottom over my hips, or if the hips fit and like the top is too big, and I'm not gonna like I don't know. I don't want big boobs, and then like. If I wear pants, it's just weird. It's not. It's like it's weird that like our culture is like into butts because I think they're kind of gross. But
well, I mean, I think you just have to watch like Discovery Channel for 15 minutes and see like presentation posture and all that stuff. And mammals have that fixation, I think. But not my intention to go there, but the exercises. So if you're exercising before you get started with the day and you could only pick a couple of exercises. So,
I mean, you basically asked me why I have a big butt. Like that's just
No,
it's fine. I'm not. It's just funny.
No, it's not. It's not just.
What do you do? What do you do? Well,
if you had to only choose a couple of types of exercise, not just for the butt, what would you?
About having a big butt is that like it can go to hell really fast. So. You kind of have to exercise. I do deadlifts for my butt, or
Good
just
for
in general.
you.
I do deadlifts.
Deadlifts are amazing.
I do a lot of lunges. I do some like walking lunges and like some. I don't know. We do squats sometimes. I'll like resistance training. What else?
When you do deadlifts, are you doing sumo stance with your legs wide or your legs closer together, kind of like shoulder width?
They're a little beyond shoulder width and like slightly bent. I guess.
Right. And And if you had to choose 3 types of exercise just for
The rest.
the combination of like enjoyment and benefits for you overall, what would you choose?
Probably like squat jumps, box jumps, and let's see, like shoulder presses. I don't know. That seems like you could get a lot of different things happen with those 3 exercises.
Right. And then you have the trail running at a slight
And
decline.
if I'm in
Sur
Big Sur, yeah.
for the flying effect. Well, I only want to ask a couple more questions, and then I will let you get back to your day. But this has been very fun. What advice would you give your 30-year-old self?
It doesn't get easier.
Tell me more.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think when you're like, yeah, I'm like onto something and my business is growing and this is so cool. I can't wait for a time when, I can just like, let go, or a time where I can, oh man, this is just going to be running itself someday, or I'm going to, I don't know, like, or just you think, as you get older, I mean, yeah, more, you can handle things better, but it's the same. It's the same. It's just different stuff, I guess. And the challenges are bigger with bigger things. And, I think it's easier to sell yourself, or for maybe other people to sell you, that it's just like one vacation after the next. And hey, I have a great life. I really appreciate everything that I have, and I've taken some great vacations, but just that like the hustle never ends, but that was just a year ago. I was 30 a year ago. So, it would be like, hi, I don't know.
That's right. I keep forgetting that you're such a youngin. Yeah. What are you most looking forward to in the next 12 months? So far,
in the next 12 months, I'm looking forward to going to Tokyo. Yeah, we're going to Tokyo, my husband and I, for like a week, and I haven't been since I was in high school, and it's just, I know it's a cool place. I have some memory of it, but things are so different when you're an adult, and I'm excited to check it out and eat food. Now I eat sushi. I didn't eat sushi when I was in high school. Weird.
Oh yeah, now that opens up all sorts of doors. Well, if you ever want to chat about that,
oh yeah,
just feel free to ping me. Give me a call. I've spent a lot of time there, and actually have a 2-part article on Tokyo on the blog that goes through some of the smaller spots that I love. But that is exciting. Cool. Yeah, Week in Tokyo is something I think everyone should do. It's one of those completely alien places for English speakers where you can get completely lost, completely confused, even in the middle of the night, and not really be in any danger whatsoever, which is great.
You can like leave your purse, on like, you can like give it to a bum, and it's probably safe for an hour. Right.
You're right. Purse check, and it's just a fascinating country. It forces you to question a lot of your own sort of social norms and behaviors, which I think is really helpful. So that is exciting. I'm super stoked for you. I'm going to be headed to Korea for the first time. I've only been in the airport.
Oh, cool.
So I'm hoping to head to Seoul within the next month or two.
Exciting.
But what do you have any ask or requests for my audience? And the question after this is going to be where they can find you online and learn more about you and so on. But just in general, any like recommendation or request of my audience, any action they should take or things they should think about?
That's for their own good.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I don't know. Compliment someone today. I don't know. Say something nice to someone.
Yeah, be nice. Be nice. Awesome. Well, I would love people to check out what you're up to. You've done You've done so much for such a youngin.
Thanks, Tim. With a big butt. Thanks.
Well, that of course is a sort of high praise in my world. But the of course, no, you have to. But where can people learn more about you? Find out what you're up to. Well,
nastygal.com. That's like my reason for existing, and then You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat. It's Sophia _Amoruso. And I'm launching a podcast. Launching a podcast next month called Girl Boss Radio. And you can read my book. It's called Girl Boss.
Cool. Yeah, and people will be listening to this for quite a while. So look for Girl Boss Radio, guys. Cool. And the book has 835 reviews on Amazon, 4.5 stars, more than, I want to say, I'm looking right here, more than 70% are 5 stars. So the book has had a fantastic reception. And I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Really fun.
So fun.
Of course.
Cool.